Hello, welcome back to 5-Minute Review. Every subscription from you is a step closer to 1,000 subs. Thank you for being with me on this journey. Just as Xiao Yan entered seclusion preparing for the fateful step toward Dou Saint, an unforeseen calamity descended upon the Falling Star Pavilion. In the skies above, Yao Lao clashed fiercely against three half-saints, his soul flickering at the edge of annihilation. At the most perilous juncture, Xiao Yan finally pierced through the bottleneck, his aura soaring as he ascended to the realm of Dou Saint, turning the tides of battle in an instant. From his return to the Jiama Empire and back to the vast central plains, his strength had already risen to the pinnacle of 9 revolutions Dou venerate. Beneath the sacred shade of the Bodhi ancient tree, fate bestowed upon him the supreme treasure, the Bodhi heart. With this, Xiao Yan chose a life-and-death seclusion, refining the Bodhi heart together with the Bodhi pill forged by Yao Lao in hopes of seizing a breakthrough. Yao Lao's only wish was for Xiao Yan to step into the half-saint realm. Never did he imagine that his disciple would transcend limits and stride directly into sainthood. Yet at that very moment catastrophe struck. A tide of half-saint adversaries descended upon the Falling Star Pavilion, forcing Yao Lao, Medusa and the pavilion's experts to resist with their very lives. Yao Lao had nearly fallen, his life hanging by a thread. No one could have foreseen that Xiao Yan's seclusion would extend for a full 2 years. At first it was believed that with the Bodhi heart and the Bodhi pill, a single year would be enough for Xiao Yan to step into half-saint. Moreover, the Bodhi heart had long been rumoured to grant a Dou venerate the chance to directly ascend into the realm of Dou Saint. Yet matters unfolded far beyond all expectations. A year slipped away in silence, and the stone gate of Xiao Yan's retreat grew thick, with moss, wild grass creeping across its surface until it became a forbidden ground within the Falling Star Pavilion. Though countless hearts were restless, Yao Lao could still faintly sense that weak yet steady aura emanating from deep within the mountain, proof that Xiao Yan was undergoing a most crucial metamorphosis. Thus, all they could do was wait. None dared interfere. And while the pavilion held its breath, the vast central plains had already begun to shift, the tides of fate turning in silence. The Hall of Souls Hundian had yet to retaliate, granting the Falling Star Pavilion the perfect chance to rise with unstoppable momentum, especially when word spread that Yao Lao had mastered the art of refining. The supreme Bodhi pill, countless reclusive peak Dou venerates emerged from the shadows, one after another, pledging allegiance. All harbored the hope that one day they might obtain such a priceless spiritual elixir. To win Yao Lao's trust, they willingly contributed their strength to the pavilion, ushering in a surge of growth and prosperity. With so many experts joining, the pavilion's power swiftly soared until it rivaled the ancient heavenly netherworld sect, Tian Ming sect. Yet as both sides vied for dominance, conflict inevitably erupted. At first, their strengths were evenly matched, locked in stalemate. But in time, the heavenly netherworld sect allied with other great factions such as the Ice River Valley, the Wind, Lightning Pavilion, and many others, forming the formidable Netherworld Alliance, Minghe Alliance. This coalition shattered the fragile balance. Once the Netherworld Alliance was established, their combined might grew overwhelming, launching relentless assaults against the Falling Star Pavilion. Caught off guard at first, the Falling Star Pavilion was forced to contract its territory. Yet even so, Yao Lao and the other elders remained calm. They regarded this not as disaster, but as an opportunity to restructure their foundation. The pavilion had grown too quickly, like a towering body with a hollow frame, seemingly mighty yet fragile within. Thus, they chose to withdraw into defense, concentrating their power upon vital regions while establishing spatial passageways between their strongholds to ensure reinforcements could arrive without delay. Through this strategy, the pavilion's defensive lines grew ever more solid. Time and again, the Netherworld Alliance launched fierce offensives, yet all were repelled. At last, they were forced to retreat in frustration. Though the Great War cost the Falling Star Pavilion some territory, its renown now spread far and wide across the Central Plains. To stand alone against an alliance of mighty factions yet still preserve its strength, such a feat was by no means ordinary. The Netherworld Alliance had originally intended to use the battle as a warning to all other forces, never imagining that the clash would instead cast the Falling Star Pavilion into even greater prominence. This outcome left the heavenly Netherworld sect and its allies deeply unsettled. Yet the peace within the Central Plains did not last long. Suddenly, earth-shattering news spread across the land. The Spirit Clan, one of the three immortal ancient clans, had vanished completely. Since the time of Xiao Yan's return from the Heavenly Tomb, there had been rumors that the spatial realm of the Spirit Clan had abruptly sealed itself, though few had paid attention. But recently, when the entrance to the Spirit Realm reopened, those who ventured within found only desolation, ruins, and silence. Millions of descendants had disappeared without a trace, leaving behind not the faintest clue. This revelation shook the Central Plains to its core, casting dread and confusion among the great powers. Many speculated that the clan had been annihilated, but even the mightiest of the ancient clans would find it nearly impossible to erase the Spirit Clan in such silence. Every conjecture proved insufficient to explain this mysterious disappearance, deepening the sense of dread. Even within the ranks of the immortal ancient clans, shockwaves rippled forth. Relations among the ancient clans were ever intricate, not true allies, yet not wholly enemies. Cooperation existed, but so too did endless rivalry. The fall of the Spirit Clan inevitably called to mind the great battle for the Emperor Jade in ages past. Judging by strength within the 8 ancient clans, only the Gu clan and the Hun clan possessed the power to accomplish such a deed. Suspicion most heavily fell upon the Hun clan, a force shrouded in mystery, infamous for its cruel and unfathomable methods. Thus, many secretly believed it was the Hun clan pulling the strings behind this calamity. Yet all remained speculation. The true secret behind the Spirit Clan's disappearance lingered in shadow, an unsolved riddle. The vanishing of the Spirit Clan not only plunged the Central Plains into shock, but also draped the entire continent in an air of unease. Though the furor eventually quieted, undercurrents began to stir within the ancient clans themselves. As time flowed on, the echoes of the Spirit Tribe incident gradually faded, while the Central Plains continued to be engulfed by new waves of turmoil. Deep within the remote mountains where the Falling Star Pavilion resided, Xiao Yan had remained in seclusion for nearly 2 years. At first, everyone believed that with the Bodhi heart in his possession, he would surely break through to half-saint within a year. Yet 2 full years had passed, and the stone gates of his chamber remained utterly silent, showing no sign of movement. So quiet had it been that weeds and moss now clung thickly to the doors, as though time itself had forsaken them. As new disciples gradually took the place of their seniors, Xiao Yan's prolonged absence began to stir suspicion. Some of the honored guest elders started to waver in confidence. After all, a breakthrough to half-saint should have shaken heaven and earth with strange phenomena. Yet the mountains where Xiao Yan secluded himself remained ever serene, without the slightest fluctuation. Even so, Yao Lao's faith did not falter. He had witnessed Xiao Yan's journey firsthand, from a frail youth into the formidable figure he was today. He understood the young man's willpower and potential. Thus, despite the murmurs from outside, he chose to wait steadfastly. Just as the pavilion was abuzz with rumors about Xiao Yan's long seclusion, a looming threat suddenly arose. A coalition of the heavenly Netherworld sect, the Ice River Valley, and the Wind Lightning Pavilion, known as the Netherworld Alliance, delivered a blood-red war declaration, proclaiming their intent to attack the Falling Star Pavilion within half a month. The challenge came abruptly. Having remained quiet for over a year, the Netherworld Alliance's sudden aggression clearly showed they had prepared well. Yao Lao sneered coldly, recognizing that the enemy must now have a powerful backer, likely the ancient monster of the heavenly Netherworld sect, finally emerging from seclusion. At his side, Medusa wore a grave expression, warning Yao Lao not to underestimate the threat. For if the Netherworld Alliance dared to strike so directly, they surely believed victory was within their grasp. Though the pavilion had grown stronger under Yao Lao's leadership during the past 2 years, facing the full might of the Netherworld Alliance would mean a battle of unimaginable ferocity. What troubled everyone most was that Xiao Yan still had not emerged. For the past year, the Falling Star Pavilion and the Netherworld Alliance had been locked in a fragile standoff. Despite uniting numerous factions, the Alliance had not dared to launch a full-scale war, restrained by a single man, Yao Lao. As a peak half-saint, he alone commanded enough power to keep the entire Alliance at bay. Unless they could deploy 2 experts of equal rank, the foundation of the Falling Star Pavilion would not be shaken. Yet even the heavenly Netherworld sect, with all its ancient heritage, possessed only one such supreme elder long confined in seclusion. As for their allies, like the Ice River Valley, they had no half-saint to send at all. For a long time, the enemy could only launch small-scale ambushes to seize fleeting advantages, never once able to topple the Falling Star Pavilion, Xing. Yet this time was entirely different. The Netherworld Alliance Ming. He Alliance not only sent forth a formal declaration of war, but even threatened to strike directly at the pavilion's headquarters. Such an unusual move immediately stirred caution in Yao Lao. He understood that if the enemy dared to act so boldly, they must have secured new backing. Perhaps the long reclusive Grand Elder of the heavenly Netherworld sect had emerged, or else they had found another formidable ally. Whatever the case, the Falling Star Pavilion could not afford negligence. Preparations for a decisive battle were mandatory. Yao Lao swiftly issued orders: recall the elders from their missions abroad, fortify key sectors, and dispatch scouts to probe the movements of the Netherworld Alliance. The one to oversee these commands was none other than Qing Lin. In just 2 short years, her strength and renown had advanced by leaps and bounds. From a mere 5-star Dou Venerate, she had broken through to the very peak of the realm. Her astonishing talent, coupled with her rare decisiveness and leadership, earned her respect not only as Xiao Yan's consort, but as a formidable figure in her own right. And yet, despite all preparations, unease still lingered within Qing Lin's heart. Xiao Yan had remained in seclusion for 2 full years without the slightest sign of emergence. Though Yao Lao constantly reassured her that his breakthrough was near each passing day, saw the stone gate remain silent and unmoving. The fated battle drew ever closer, but one of the pavilion's greatest pillars of strength had yet to appear. Qing Lin gazed at the moss-covered stone gate, her eyes filled with mingled hope and dread. After she and Yao Lao departed, the ancient gate quivered ever so faintly. A hairline crack appeared upon its surface, as if heralding that something momentous was about to change. All throughout the Falling Star Pavilion, the atmosphere was suffocating. The sect had entered the highest state of alert. At last, the day of reckoning proclaimed by the Netherworld Alliance had arrived. News of the impending clash spread like wildfire across the Central Plains, drawing countless experts to witness the event. Though most came merely to spectate, the enemy did not turn them away. Instead, they sealed the surrounding regions and deployed strict patrols to prevent unforeseen disturbances. Atop the towering sky peak Tianfeng before the Grand Hall, a vast stone plaza had been leveled to serve as today's battlefield. Yao Lao stood with his hands clasped behind his back, silent and resolute. Behind him gathered Qing Lin, Little Fairy, Dr. Qing Lin, and the pavilion's core forces, all assembled in grim readiness. The air was heavy, thick with foreboding, as if heralding a duel of life and death. This battle would determine the very fate of the Falling Star Pavilion. Suddenly, space itself was torn asunder. From the rift stepped forth legions of the Netherworld Alliance. At their head strode a fearsome, ancient monster, the long-secluded powerhouse of the heavenly Netherworld sect, known to the world as the old demon Tianming Lao Yao. The moment he emerged, his oppressive aura swept forth. With chilling indifference, he issued his demand. The Falling Star Pavilion was to immediately withdraw from a 1,000-mile radius and swear eternal submission, never again to stand against the Netherworld Alliance. An arrogant demand, nothing short of forcing the Falling Star Pavilion to bow before the world was declared. The instant those words fell, the great formation secretly laid in advance flared to life, imprisoning the forces of the Netherworld Alliance within. The atmosphere between the two sides was taut as a drawn bowstring ready to snap at any moment. Suddenly, the old demon of the heavenly Netherworld sect let out a sinister smile. At his summons, space cracked once more. Two chilling auras surged forth, familiar yet oppressive. They were experts from the Hall of Souls Hundian, led by the second heavenly venerate Guyu. Alongside him came another half-saint, and with the old demon's presence, the enemy now commanded 3 half-saints in total. The warriors of the Falling Star Pavilion drew in sharp breaths, faces pale with dread. Yao Lao's expression grew dark. Only now did he understand why the Netherworld Alliance had dared act with such arrogance. Before such despairing odds, there was no retreat, only battle. His gaze hardened. Today's war was not merely for the pavilion's honor, but for the lives of everyone present. At his command, the pavilion's experts unleashed their fiercest auras, shaking the very heavens. Far away upon the surface of an ancient stone gate, faint cracks slowly spread as though heralding the awakening of something long dormant. Seeing Yao Lao's refusal to yield, the old demon's grin twisted into a snarl as he ordered a full assault. Guyu sneered, vowing to reap souls this day, utterly disregarding the pavilion. Against 3 half-saints, Yao Lao swiftly devised his strategy, facing both the old demon and Guyu alone, while Medusa, Little Dr. Fairy, and Qing Lin joined forces to restrain the remaining half-saint of the Hall of Souls. It was a perilous gamble, for to face 2 foes of equal rank alone seemed reckless. Yet Yao Lao knew if they were not stopped, the pavilion would be annihilated. The battle erupted. Both sides clashed with such ferocity that the entire star region was thrown into chaos. Yao Lao ignited his Dao Qi, locking firmly onto his 2 adversaries, ignoring their mockery as he struck first. Meanwhile, Qing Lin transformed into the 7-colored heaven-swallowing python. Xiao Yan released a flood of virulent poison, and Qing Lin summoned the phantom of an ancient heavenly serpent. Their combined might forced the 3 heavenly venerates of the Hall of Souls onto the defensive, unable to seize advantage for the moment. Yet while the pavilion bled and roared in the star realm deep in the rear mountains, the ancient stone gate began to fracture fissures, creeping down into the mountain's heart as though something was stirring from slumber. High above, Yao Lao battled alone against 2 half-saints. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth, but still he endured. The 7-colored python form of Qing Lin was grievously wounded, scales shattered and blood streaming. Xiao Yan was struck down, falling to the earth exhausted, while Qing Lin too faltered under the onslaught. In that moment of distraction, Guyu seized an opening, striking Yao Lao from the sky and smashing him into the ground. With their strongest warrior fallen, despair consumed the pavilion. The old demon declared victory, preparing to end Yao Lao's life. Many believed this day would mark the pavilion's erasure from history. But at that instant, heaven and earth quaked. Flames erupted like a boundless sea, and a cold, commanding roar shook the souls of all who heard echoing through the 9 heavens. A power far beyond half-saint descended, leaving both the old demon and Guyu pale with dread. A Dou Saint impossible. The figure who appeared was none other than Xiao Yan. After 2 years of seclusion, not only had he broken through, he had stepped firmly into the true realm of Dou Saint.